The Diary of a Certified Psychopath. Off the crank. Noteworthy, not wheelie. Last Twilight's irrevocably twisty troll over turf more homespun than M&S's recently launched seasonal collection of merino woolen knitwear commenced with a mental warm-up, before any slack muscle groups could even begin re-inflating my magic carpet's leaky rear shock absorber with a gauge-free hand pump. As I estimated what 130 psi felt like, 2 questions from a repeated episode of the popular TV quiz show Pointless drifted through a neighbour's window. Put simply, this game is an inversion of family fortunes, with the object being to identify the most obscure answer from a series of categorised questions that have previously been posed to a group of 100 anonymous surveyees, whilst maximum points are awarded to any contestants who provide a correct answer that none in the former contingent identified. In this case, participants had been asked to name any words ending with the letters OUGH and any one of Alfred Hitchcock's lesser-known ventures for the silver screen. My impulsive choices were tough and frenzy. Coincidentally, the first happens to be both an attribute and descriptive term that have become notably disassociated from my recent riding habits, whilst the second could be used to aptly convey the general disposition that most of Britain's drivers involuntarily adopt during rush hours. The relative softness of what I'd hitherto have ensured was stiff lactic labour was apparent within this recreational ramble's opening furlongs, when bailing across the river felt far more attractive to what could have been a wind-aided tow behind an e-scooterist, who had the temerity to toot me as they whirred past, weighed down with a rucksack the size of a small Wendy house. Several mid-tempo kilometres later, neither gusts nor gradients were in my favour, throughout an unsaddled grind over the rugged rollers of Upper Shoreham Road, where a persistent northeasterly made every punchy climb equate to pedalling through quick-drying cement, though the plush ride comfort afforded by Nina's gravel-reared thoroughbred, with its uniquely flexible physique fully engaged, at least weathered a sting from the surface that my supposedly breeze-blocking body armour failed to take out of the air. Endured this double-fronted gauntlet of turbulent and topographical adversity twice, encountering a few triple-parked hazards in their usual positions, but an equal number of considerate bus drivers, who, during the notorious graveyard shift, most likely had more to test their saintly patience by way of plastered clientele disputing off-peak fares. One little hand's turn around an analogue clock face later, somewhere, amidst the mechanical monotony, uproarious hubbubbery, and droning motoriety that formed the discordant foundation of today's ambient alarm call, I heard the faintest strains of Ronald Binge's Elizabethan Serenade, rendered by what sounded like an ensemble of detuned music boxes. Mulling this curious melodic interjection over a few moments later, whilst mindfully avoiding the potent offshore breeze that had carried it from the mainland in lilting crescendos, I concluded it must have come either from our quaint town's resident ice cream van, playing a sunnier song than Greensleeves, in the vain hope of delaying any scattered deluges that brewed in a steadily darkening horizon just long enough to sell the last strawberry cornetto, or a reversing HGV, whose good-natured driver had filtered a novelty siren, intending to diffuse the stress and pressure induced by daily drudgery with a little light-hearted humour. If the latter is true, I pondered, heading south down Park Avenue en route to another freely structured suburban squiggle-fest, I hope they're either self-employed or their boss can see the funny side of long-haul logistics. Would they, for instance, be capable of laughing if that critical consignment of vinyl flooring and flat-pack garden sheds had arrived too late to offload before the forklift team knocked off for lunch? Saluted 2 attentive learner drivers with whom I crossed paths during successive stomps along Wilmot Road and up Stony Lane, neither from Larry's local school, but both providing ample space for me to pass amidst an assault course of parked pinch points. This agreeable encounter was followed by a direct and predominantly seated Potter home via Shoreham's elderly highway, combining negative inclines and Newtonian laws with elemental aid from a now favourable northeasterly fiend, before weaving my way back to the coast down Connaught Road and Swiss Gardens, where I safely curb-slid past a time-starved Ocado driver, delivering the final priority shipments of macrobiotic ready meals and dairy-deficient protein shakes to our crash-dieting doorsteps.